Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 9-game Major League Baseball slate. The Mets and the Miami game are not on the slate, so do keep that in mind. They're in red, so there's actually just 8 games today. With that said, let's go ahead and get started on this. Before I do, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? Really does help the channel a lot. So I'm gonna start off with pitching is really rough today. It's gonna be a tough slate for pitching, so I expect it to be high scoring. And we also have a game in Colorado with the Dodgers in Colorado, which definitely mucks this slate up even more. But let's go and get in our pitchers here. So we're gonna start with Garrett Cole for the Yankees. Now he's facing Toronto, and he faced them last game. He's had 3 games against Toronto this season where he's averaging 24 fantasy points a game, so he's definitely capable of big game. In fact, he's only had one earned run in those 3 games, and he's had 19 strikeouts. I look for him to have a really solid game today. Pablo Lopez also in play from Minnesota. He's got a good matchup here against Oakland. Uh, he is still pretty expensive here. I don't love the matchup since or I do like the matchup, but I don't love him because he's been somewhat inconsistent recently. He's had a lot of sub 15 fantasy point games. But he is capable of a big game, though he's pricey on the slate. And Barrios for Toronto, he's also faced Yankees recently in his last game where he scored only 12 fantasy points, but he's capable of a good game here. He had 20 in his other game against them, and he has some good strikeout potential today, but this is a high risk, high reward play on the slate. A couple other guys you could look at is uh, Miller for Seattle, Miley for Milwaukee, and Shaheen for the Dodgers, but they are a high risk on the slate. Let's go and get into our catchers. We're going to start with Will Smith here. Now, Will Smith has been inconsistent throughout the season. He's very overpriced for this matchup, but he is capable of a home run today, and if he does hit one, then he'll pay off. But he does need to hit a home run to pay off here, and he's very hard to roster on the slate. William Contreras from Milwaukee he's been hitting the ball pretty well lately with lots of multi-hit games. He has really good metrics here and has home run potential, so I do like his upside, and this is a great matchup for him. Mitch Garver also in play for Texas. He's got a good matchup here against Canning, and he's been hitting the ball pretty well recently with 286 average. I do like his home run potential as well today, and so he is a viable option. And then Elias Diaz for Colorado also in play. He's a boomer bust option for a home run or bust. He does have that tendency at home. He's been better at home than on the road this season, and he definitely has more home run upside as a result. But he's high risk on the slate. Moving to first base, Freddie Freeman is a core play for me. He's hit the ball pretty well. He hit a home run yesterday in the second game for the Dodgers. I look for him to continue that today, as he's had a lot of multi-hit games recently, but he does need to have a home run to pay off. Then we'll look at Goldschmidt for the St. Louis Cardinals. Now he's in an interesting spot here. He's been inconsistent lately, but he does draw home run potential. I do like him sometimes on when it comes to home run metrics. He hasn't been as good this season as we'd hoped, but he is capable of a good game, and he's priced pretty fairly for this one. Matt Olson also in play for Atlanta. Now he has been very good recently. He's at 53 home runs now. He's only had 2 home runs over the last 10 games, but he's also scoring fantasy points in good ways lately. So I do think he's a viable option on this slate, and he does draw home run potential. Then we'll look at Nate Lowe for Texas, who has some very good metrics for this slate. Uh, he has home run upside sometimes. He hasn't been very good lately, so he's kind of a contrarian option. But if he can hit a home run, he can pay off, and so he's a viable position today. Looking at second base here, we'll look at Simeon for Texas. I really do like a Texas stack today. He's hit the ball fairly well recently with a 282 average and 4 home runs over the last 10. He's even managed to get some stolen bases lately, so that gives him some upside, and he does have multi-hit potential on this one. Kim for San Diego is a core play. Now he can play second base or shortstop, so that's a nice advantage. He's been somewhat inconsistent recently, but he's had some multi-hit games as well, and he is capable of a home run in certain situations, and he just has very good upside on the slate. And then Tommy Edman has a tough matchup today, but he definitely draws some good metrics as he's hit the ball pretty decently recently with a bunch of multi-hit games. He doesn't need a home run to pay off. He's also capable of that, and he has been very good in 10 games against Milwaukee. He's averaged 10 fantasy points a game. I do like his upside here, but he's somewhat high risk contrarian play on the slate. Uh, then we'll look at Ryan McMahon for Colorado. Now, I do like Colorado stack today. If you want to go with it, there should be a little bit cheaper than some of the other stacks, but he is capable of a good game here, though he's been somewhat inconsistent recently. He's a little bit overpriced for the matchup. Machado for San Diego can play third base or shortstop. He's hit the ball very well with 4 home runs over the last 10 games, and he draws that good metrics today. He's also had some multi-hit games as well, so I do think he is a viable option here. I do think he'll hit a home run on this slate. And then Josh Donaldson, who's been very inconsistent this season. Uh, his hitting is very boomer bust for a home run perspective. If he can hit a home run, though, he can pay off here. But he is high risk, high reward. He's a Hail Mary play at this position. Maybe in the shortstop, we'll look at Corey Seager. Now, he may not play today, so we do want to make sure that he does draw the start if we use him. But he's been really good throughout the season. He's also had good multi-hits opportunity, and he has home run potential, though he is very expensive. It's probably almost a good idea just to take a break on him today so that he can get back to health. You can also use Kim and Machado at this position, but I also like Tovar for Colorado as he does draw some good metrics here. He has hit the ball a lot better at home than on the road this season, and he definitely draws good metrics on the slate. It is a tougher matchup, but he's capable of a good game here, and he's one of the better players on Colorado. Then we'll look at Xander Bogaerts for San Diego. Now, he has hit the ball extremely well with a 400 average over the last 10, almost averaging 14 fantasy points a game. He definitely draws good metrics and has home run potential on the slate. Maybe in the outfielders, obviously we're going to have Acuna and um, uh, Tatis Jr. both being great options on the slate over. Obviously, Acuna is extremely expensive. Tatis is a little bit underpriced now, which is good because he hasn't hit the ball as well home run wise lately, but he is capable of big time games, and he does need to hit a home run though to pay off here. Uh, Adalis Garcia for Texas is in play. I really haven't talked about him a whole lot this season, but he's got really good home run metrics for this game, and he definitely draws good potential. He's even had some multi-hit games lately, and he even managed a stolen base a couple games ago. He's not a big stolen base guy, but he's capable of it occasionally. But the home runs are really what we're looking for from him, and he's definitely got the output for that today. Then we'll look at James Outman for the Dodgers. Now, he has been inconsistent throughout the season, but he's hitting the ball decently well right now. He did hit a home run a couple games ago and has some nice upside. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Uh, Anyhow, but he also had a multi-hit game yesterday in the second game for the Dodgers, so I like his potential today. He's not a guy that's been hitting particularly great, but he is capable of a solid game. Peralta and also Jason Hayward for the Dodgers are in play as well if they draw the start. You do want to check them out and make sure that they start, but Peralta's been really bad lately, but he has some upside in this matchup, and Hayward does too, as they are playing in Colorado, and so they're going to be a popular group of guys, especially with Hayward's batting average recently. They're going to be a popular group of guys to utilize in the outfield today because of their pricing, but they are high risk, high reward. Tommy Edman can also play out here. A guy that I haven't really talked about for a long time is Charlie Blackmon, but he seems like he's hitting the ball very well right now, and he does draw good metrics at home. He does definitely has some home run upside. His batting average is almost 100, almost 80 points higher at home than on the road this season, so he does draw some nice upside here. He's not a huge home run threat, but he is capable of it, and he's got a good matchup. Ian Happ for the Cubs is also in play. Now he is facing Atlanta, but they're going to be running out a pitcher who hasn't pitched very much, and that does give him some upside. He's also hitting the ball very well with a 317 average over the last 10, and so I do like him here. Jock Peterson also in play for San Francisco, as he draws some good upside in this matchup, but he's high risk, high reward as he's not hit the ball very well lately. And then Michael Harris and the rest of the Atlanta outfield are definitely going to have some potential today. Harris has been pretty good throughout the season. He started off a little bit rough, but he's started to get some home runs and stolen bases lately, and he definitely draws some potential on the slate, but he is a little bit risky as he has been somewhat inconsistent. With that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.